Hi, everyone. It is Steph. I am really excited to share with you this week why environment is way more important than motivation. Motivation fades. There's only so much willpower our little monkey brains can summon. But environment is something that surrounds us and influences us throughout the day, every day. And so putting ourselves in environments that set us up for success is your best bet, way more than, if I just knuckle down or if I just grind it out, and giving yourself that pep talk all the time, that's exhausting. And it's asking a lot of your brain to always be devoting a certain amount of energy to overcoming friction in addition to everything else that you're asking of it. Whereas if you remove that friction, you automatically have so much more capacity. So I'll give you a couple of examples of how to make it easier and how to make something harder, but in order to achieve a better outcome. So to make something easier, I have more than one client actually that discovered that working from home all the time was not for them, mostly because they had a larger family, they had children, they had older children who were more self-sufficient and could be, left at home by themselves for, a few hours at a time or what have you. And so this handful of clients that I have, they not only have a home office, but they have a small, inexpensive sublet somewhere where the whole purpose of that office is to go and do all of their deep work. When they really want to get into the zone and be analytical and think things through, or have a space where they can be creative and explore ideas without worrying about, are the kids fighting over snacks, or there's laundry to be done, or there's dishes in the sink, and kind of those things that pull at you when you work from home, especially if you don't have a designated office space where you can close the door and kind of shut it out. If you're in the mix, it can be hard to concentrate on deep work. And so these clients have elected to do a small, inexpensive sublet that creates an environment for them that is conducive to thinking clearly and deeply. It's not about overcoming whatever's happening at home, right? So that's one example of how to create a situation that also creates ease. The other example is a client of mine who realized that she probably was spending way more time on social media than what was good for her mental health, and let alone like the productivity for her business. Like both of those things were starting to suffer because she was doom scrolling. And so she installed an app on her phone that only allows her a certain amount of social media time a day, and then it locks her out of her account for the day. She can get back in, like, in case this is like your primary form of communication with clients or, what have you, but she has to go into her vault. She has to pull out her username and her password. She has to put that all in order to get back into her account, in order to buy herself another half an hour on that platform, right? So she's made it more difficult for herself to be on social media, which is this thing that she recognized as having a real effect on her personally and professionally. So in both instances, clients have made choices to change their environment, intangible or tangible, in order to better set themselves up for success and or health, right? Um, I myself don't keep potato chips in the house because it's bad and I can't have them around. There is no such thing as just like a handful of chips. There's no way. If you meet me in person, I look like I'm small, but I can eat my weight in potato chips. So they just don't come into the house because I have no willpower around them, and I've stopped expecting myself to. So I set myself up for success by simply not having them in the pantry. So again, these environmental decisions that we make on a regular basis, um, introduce the concept of ease. I think culturally as Americans, we talk a lot about how hard things are, and we kind of celebrate that in a way, like work hard, play hard, things that are worth having are hard or difficult, or you had to overcome a bunch of obstacles in order to make it happen. And I'm not saying that working through a challenge doesn't bring a sense of accomplishment and confidence. But if that is your constant MO, that it must be hard in order to have value, that it must be difficult in order to be worthwhile and attractive, then you might be unintentionally sabotaging yourself a little bit by making your environment more difficult than it needs to be in order to set yourself up to thrive. So examine the ways that you might be experiencing some friction in your environment and think about ways to either make something easier in order to achieve the desired result, or like with the social media app, could you create a little bit of friction that actually will help you achieve a better result? So think about, what is your potato chip? What's your potato chip issue? And how will you change your environment so that you can easily overcome it? Not, again, scratching and clawing and grinding it out. God, I hate that. Make things easy for yourselves. That's the big takeaway from this video this week. Okay. If you have difficulty with that, please reach out. That's what I'm here for. And as always, my thanks to James Clear and Atomic Habits for inspiring this video today. I will see you in a couple of weeks with a whole new topic. Take care, everyone. Bye.